Throwaway as my main he follows. I've never posted on this sub before, so please delete if not allowed. I and my fiancé Todd met over a decade ago, and we have a mutual friend group. We started dating last year and got engaged last month. Generally speaking, he treats me like a queen. He spoils me a lot and I appreciate it always. He's usually respectful and kind, communicative and patient with me. This started to change, and I want to say it started to change once the ring was accepted. I need to be clear, I don't much care to get married. I am perfectly fine with not. My parents aren't married, but they have been in love and together for over 40 years. My siblings are all but one unmarried but in seemingly happy relationships, each at least for 5 years. But Todd is Christian and is of the mind that two people eventually need to get married to be happy. We talked about it at length both before we were a couple and after we started dating. I was clear that I don't want or need a ring, but if it's important to a partner I come to love, then whatever. I will do a small wedding. He was overjoyed when he proposed and I said yes in front of pretty much everyone in our little world, but later said that I didn't seem excited enough and it felt like I didn't want to marry him. I said I love him and if he wants a marriage then sure, but to say I want to marry? I mean, I know he wants to, and if that's what he wants, and since it doesn't matter to me either way, the math was easy. Let's get married. I said it sort of jokingly to lighten the mood, but he didn't like that at all, and nearly every other day he would find a way to ask me if I really wanted to marry him, or he would simply that he feels like I don't. I suggested couples therapy as it seems to really be on his mind and troubling him, and he said he's done therapy before and doesn't need to do it again. Then last week on our usual date night he said he had something really big to ask me. Call it a favor if that makes it better, and asked me to come to his church and get baptized. I stared at him. I am atheist and have been since I was mid-20s. He has known that for years, and we've always been respectful of each other's beliefs. I told him I couldn't do that. Baptism is supposed to be sacred and with a true heart for that faith, and I simply would be a liar if I said I wanted to live for his God because I frankly don't. He argued that it's just a splash of water in some words, and since he wants it before our wedding and I don't care about religion either way, this should be easy. I refused again, explaining that I do care about religion. My majors were world religions and anthropology. I care a lot. And it would be dishonest to his God and our community for me to dedicate my life to his religion outwardly but not inwardly. I said it felt disrespectful to his faith and the people who truly live it. He got angry with me. Oh, so you're okay disrespecting me though? And when I asked what he meant he said to drop it and change the subject. I pressed more but he raised his voice. I said drop it. Loud enough for others to turn and look at us. He'd been robotic around me since. Days up in his study all night, sleeps on his study couch, goes to every service and event/gathering his church has, which is most weekday nights and Saturday morning as well as Sunday, and has been inviting me to every single one. He hadn't done that since we started dating. He did it then. I said I respect his beliefs and will go to something like a wedding or christening or baptism but not a simple service or event. When he asked me just a few minutes ago tonight, I reminded him of the above and he just dropped into our couch and sobbed, and when I went over to comfort and talk to him, he pushed me away and left muttering something about running late for service. His sister Esther texted me to ask what happened and I gave a brief summary, and she texted back that I am being a jerk and one service isn't going to make me burst into flames, and it's important to Todd. So am I being a bonehead? Am I crazy to think that this pressure is a deal breaker? I do love him, but this version of him is not only a stranger to me but a weight on me. But aren't people supposed to work through that hard shit to get on in a relationship? Edit to update. He texted me a few minutes ago saying when he gets home he wants to have a serious talk. I explained that my best friend is over so it will have to wait, and he replied no. Tell her to leave. Give her my love, but this is serious. I talked with my bestie Bessie and read some of the comments here and told him no indeed. He can go home to his parents and he is welcome to come in and pack a bag and leave because Bess is here for me right now, and I need her here for me right now. He hasn't responded. I'm up a lot either in messages or comments. He has never raised a hand to me. He would never, and if it's not for the reason I used to think that he's not a dick, it would at least be because I am a military brat. Both parents. So not only am I trained to defend myself well, but my parents would not take kindly. A lot of people brought up kids. I can't get pregnant. I did want kids and then this happened. So now I am okay with the idea of not having any. He said he was okay with that too, and we talked about just being dog rescue people. My family likes him. My father, a pastor, loves the guy. But no, I haven't told him about this yet. He is non-denominational and goes to a megachurch in our state. Literally thousands of people. No, it is not a requirement for marriage at his church for me to convert. Just to be clear, what doesn't count as stuff for him? Is it that instead of paying a fraction of his college costs for this upcoming semester, I covered it all for him? Is it that I gave him my old car when his broke down and transferred it to his name without him paying a dime? Oh, hold on, I know it's because I cook for him every weekday when I am home, do our grocery shopping so he doesn't have that on his plate, let him move in rent-free because he couldn't afford to renew his lease, and even got a he shed out back for him out of my own dime so he has a place to decompress and paint. No, not that. I should have funded his whole mission trip last year instead of half. Is that it? Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's that I do the majority of the housework so he can focus on his degree. Now you probably just mean that I took the time last year to find his undergrad college years buddies and flew his mother in for his 40th birthday, had it catered, decorated, and hired a bartender. Or is it more basic, like the fact that when he went vegan, I switch up my whole lifestyle and only eat vegan when out and about and purged all non-vegan items not for the dog from the home? Thank you, because actually I am now seeing I do so damn much for this man and he should treat me like a queen because I treated him like a king. This was eye-opening. A week later. Last week I posted about a problem between myself and my fiancé Todd, because despite having been respectful of each other's beliefs until now, he is Christian and I am an atheist. He now wants me to get baptized. It came to a head and he stormed out, so I called my BFF to keep me company since I was pretty sad and emotional. I do a lot for him and Bess, the bestie, and a lot of you here helped me see that the relationship as is either needs to have serious changes to it or it needs to end. Logical. But logic is hard to cling to when you're heartbroken. I think I already knew he wouldn't change anything for me. I did text him that night that he needs to go back to his parents' house. The house we live in is mine. And that I needed space. Guess he and his sister gave his parents an alternate version of events because they came by that night anyway. All of them. His mom, dad, sister Esther, and him. He had a key, so he just walked in as Bess and I are drinking on the couch watching Netflix. I asked what he was doing here, and his family came into the room behind him. I asked what's going on. The way he looked at me is unexplainable. But his mom pushed by him and just yanked me into a very aggressive hug. She said that they were here to talk as a family and have a family meeting, and then told Bess she needed to leave. Bess refused. His mom turns to me to ask me to have Bess leave. I refuse. It's late, and I'm in not state to talk anything else. Please leave. It devolves into passive-aggressive disapproval, that I won't take guidance from the man I plan to marry. His parents, his father is a pastor, sat down to give me what felt like a whole pre-planned spiel about how I am an adult and need to act like one, and kicking a man out of his home for doing the right thing is a tantrum. His dad once even said that he is so disappointed in me, and will be telling my father, also a pastor, about this. Gotta be honest, I was dumbfounded for 85% of this, and then finally, I guess it was the booze, started to laugh and told them to get out. His dad refused and called me volatile and suggested I get counseling. I told him this is my house, and I will call the police and to get the FUCK out. It was the first time I cussed in front of them. Pearls were clutched, I was called trashy, and Bess held her phone like, okay, I am calling the cops, she asked you to leave. I heard his dad say you're not marrying that, as they left, and they muttered other hurtful things, making a whole thing of them being sad and disappointed by me. They left. Todd packed a bag and left with them. He continued to text me invites to services. It will help you. Stating that he is concerned about me and the path I am choosing. That his parents aren't sure he should marry me, but he loves me and wants what's best for me. I told him I need space and to leave me alone, but he kept texting. I said that the wedding is off, and Sunday when I got home from running errands he was on the porch crying. He had a handwritten letter that he wanted to read to me, but I said absolutely not and told him to go away. He kept asking me to think about what I am doing and how my choices affect more than just myself and more. I pointed to my doorbell cam and said I have footage of me repeatedly asking him to leave, and Bess was recording the night his parents and sister and he ganged up on me. Go away. He threw his hand up like he was going to strike me, and I just screamed. I didn't even mean to, it was so sudden and it scared me. He went to start apologizing, but a neighbor came out to see what was happening and he just left. I texted him to never come back ever. He is no longer welcome. I will mail his stuff to his parents, but he is no longer welcome on my property ever again. He tried to apologize, but I no longer care to hear any of his words. He did leave his written letter and I have read it. So has Bess. She keeps telling me it's just manipulation, but it just breaks me. The locks get changed tomorrow. Bess is helping me pack his shit. His father is picking up his stuff tonight. And I am just sitting here replaying the past week and a half in my head over and over. I know it's pathetic, but I am shattered. I haven't been able to really sleep yet. And I feel like I don't even reside in my own body anymore. Just going through the motions. Bess is staying with me. I've been getting texts and social media comments about how disgusting I am. Like my notifications just went insane over the weekend. This is just a nightmare and I'm not even sure how to wade through this. A month later. I don't know how to do trigger warnings, only that they are important when writing posts. So I wanted to add this up here. Physical violence happened. I want to start with I am mostly okay now. I am safely at Bess's being fussed over by her hen nest and finally have been able to sleep and eat somewhat normally. Todd's father was on my doorstep again not long after my last post. Bess told him through the door that everything he needed was right there, and to grab it and leave. He got mad, demanding I come out to speak with him, calling me a cowardly and sick woman and other insults. Bess just said he can save it for the camera because I am not there. I was. And he just loaded his car, said he would pray for me and left. We thought that to be it, but then a couple knocked on the door. I don't know them personally, but I do recognize them as from Todd's church, so I kindly explained that we've broken up and to reach out to their pastor to find him. They then told they are here for me and asked to be invited in. I said no. The guy asked me to please not be inhospitable, exact word TF. And I said that this will be the last time. I politely asked them to leave. So they left. I ordered no trespassing signs online, but the next day a different couple from the church pulled the same stunt, except this time the guy was aggressive. He used my birth name, I changed it legally 4 years ago, and argued with me through the door cam, and his wife kept trying beg me to keep the peace and come out to talk. I refused. A week after that, Todd was back, but my dad was over. He had heard about this situation and oddly enough was trying to convince me to come stay back home for a bit. When Todd was outside, Dad stepped out. Dad's retired military and very tall, and ordered Todd to leave. That's when Dad asked again for me to come home, so I compromised that I would go to Bess's. While I was away, Dad would check on the house and take in packages and put the no trespassing signs up. He also added cameras and came over to Bess's to make sure I had the app synced. After a few days, I don't know how to explain it, but I just felt cooped up. So Bess and I went with a mutual male friend, Sam M35, for drinks. Todd was there. He walked in about an hour after me and Bess. Sam spotted him first and got up, blocking our booth from him. He saw us and went to the other side of the bar and just sat a while. Sam and Bess asked me if I wanted to leave and I did, so we went next door. Todd showed up soon after. We moved to the pub next door and same. It happened 4 separate times and Bess recorded it each time. Sam drove us around a bit and we needed up at a different bar miles away. And Sam asked me if I had checked my stuff. We went through my purse and found nothing, but I remember that my location was on an app, one shared with friends' S&D family. I removed Todd from it and texted a few others to say I was turning my location off and did. I checked my cameras and sure enough, Todd was parked on the street right in front of my house. He stayed there for over an hour. Sam convinced me to call the police. I could see they talked with him, but it didn't pick up audio that far out. Todd left without incident. I made a full report with recordings the next day. I was told that he did nothing illegal, and he's allowed to exist in public spaces, and that night he was on the street, not my property, so he's off the hook there too. He never approached me. He never spoke to me. He did nothing wrong. So they can make the report, but no charges are available to me. The cop who told me all this was very condescending, and he seemed to just want to be done with me, so I left. About a week later, I had recordings of him coming to the same parking spot in front of my house 4 times and just sitting there. Then, that Friday, he showed up at the bar Sam works at. Sam had him tossed out, but he refused, and so Sam had him legally trespassed. But when the cops came around, Todd argued that Sam is a bigot and he is targeting him for his faith, and he is friends with my wife, who is atheist. He got a warning but left on his own. I've been with Bess the whole time, but now I think I have to tell my dad, as he's still showing up at my house. Bess is helping me find a lawyer to help since the police haven't been taking me seriously. This is just so fucking insane. Doesn't even make sense. Sam put no trespassing and no soliciting signs on my property, and I am digging into my savings to get a fence up. I can't believe this is my life right now. Edit. So sorry, I put up the trigger warning but edited out the violence I think subconsciously because I didn't want to upset anyone. When Todd came around one time, a neighbor of mine who knows what's been happening went up and told him I don't want him there, and asked him to leave, and Todd shoved her down to the ground and raised a fist like he would strike her but then drove off. I have the footage and sent it to her in case she wants to press charges.